Hi guys and welcome back. Thank you for joining me today and we're gonna continue reading, right? Not really you gonna continue reading, but I am. You're gonna continue listening to me, alright? So, I just want to resume with the story I started yesterday, so yeah, it's gonna be the second part. Well, me and this Bill Bassett sits on the ties and exchanges brags as artists in kindred kindred lines will do. It seems he didn't have a cent either, and we went into close cactus. He explained why enable burglar sometimes had to travel on freights freights by telling me that a servant girl had played him false in Little Rock and he was making a quick getaway. It's part of my business, says Bill Bassett, to play up the ruffles when I want to make a riffle as ruffles. This laughs that makes the beat go around. Show me a house with a swag in it and a pretty parlor maid, and you might as well call the silver melted down and salt melted down, melted down, and me spilling truffles, spilling truffles, and that chitao chitao stuff on the napkin under my chin, while the police are calling it an inside job because the old lady's nephew teaches a Bible class. I first make an impression on the girl, says Bill. And when she lets me inside, I make an impression on the locks. But this one in Little Rock done me, says he. She she saw me talking taking a trolley ride with another girl. And when I came around on the night she was to leave, the door the door opened for me. It was fast. And when I came around on the night she was to leave, the door opened for me. It was fast. And I had keys made for the doors upstairs. But no, sir. She had sure cut off my locks. She was Adelia, says Bill Bassett. It seems that Bill tried to break in anyhow, which his Jimmy, but the girl emitted a succession of bravura noises like the top riders of a tally ho. And Bill had to take all the hurdles, hur, hurdle, hurdles, sorry, between there and the depot. As he had no baggage, they tried hard to check his departure, but he made a train that was just pulling out. Well, says Bill Bassett, when we had exchanged memoirs of our dead lives, I could eat. This town don't look like it was kept under the Yale rock. Suppose we commit some mild atrocity, atrocity, mild atrocity, that will bring the temporary, the, that will bring in temporary expense money. I didn't suppose you've brought along any hair tonic or rolled gold watch chains or similar low-defined swindles that you could sell on the plaza to the pickers of the piratic populace. Have you pickers of the piratic populace? Have you? No, says I. I left an elegant line of Patagonian diamond earrings and rainy day sunbursts in my wallies, wallies at Pievin, but they are to stay there till some of them black gum trees began to glut. They market with yellow clings, and Japanese plums. I reckon we can't count on them unless we take Luther Burbank in for a partner. Very well, says Bassett. We'll do the best we can. Maybe after dark I will borrow a hairpin, hairpin, hairpin from some lady and open the farmers and drovers marine bank with it. While we were talking, up pulls a passenger train to the depot nearby. Depot nearby. A person in a high hat gets off on the wrong side of the train and comes tripping down the track towards us. He was a little, fat man with a big nose and red eyes, but dressed expensive and carrying a hand satchel, careful hand satchel, hand satchel, careful, as if it had eggs or railroad bones in it. He passed by us and keeps on down the track, not appearing to notice the town. Come on, says Bill Bassett to me, starting after him. Where? I asks. Lordy, says Bill. Had you forgot you was in the desert? Didn't you see Colonel Manna drop down right before your eyes? Don't you hear the rustling of General Raven's wings? I'm surprised at you, Elijah. We overtook the stranger in the edge of some woods, and as it was after sundown in a quiet place, nobody saw us stop him. Bill takes the silk hat off the man's head and brushes it with his sleeve and puts it back. What does it mean? What does this mean, sir? Says the man. When I wore one of these, says Bill, and felt embarrassed, I always done that. Not having one now, I had to use yours. I hardly know how to begin, sir, in explaining our business with you, but I guess we'll try your pockets first. Bill Bassett felt in all of them and looked disgusted. Not even a watch, he says. Aren't you ashamed of yourself, you whited sculpture, going about desert like a hard head waiter, and financed like a count. You haven't even got a car fare. What did you do with your transfer? The man speaks up and says he has no assets or valuables of any sort, but Bassett takes his hand schedule and opens it. Out comes some collars and socks, and a page of a newspaper, clipped clipped out. Bill reads the clipping careful and holds out his hand to the held up party. Brother, says he, greetings. Accept the apologies of friends. I'm Bill Bassett, the burglar. Mr. Peters, you must make the acquaintance of Mr. Alfred E. Riggs. Shake hands, Mr. Peters, says Bill. Stands about halfway between me and you, Mr. Riggs, in the line of havoc and corruption. He always gives something for the money he gets. I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Riggs, you and Mr. Peters. This is the first time I ever attended a full gathering of the National Synod of Sharks. Housebreaking, swindling, and financing, all represented. Please examine Mr. Riggs' credentials, Mr. Peters. The piece of newspaper that Bill Bassett handed me had a good picture of this Riggs on it. It was a Chicago paper, and it had obliques, obliquise of Riggs in every paragraph. By reading it over, I harvested the intelligence that said alleged Riggs had laid off all the portion of the state of Florida that lies underwater into town lots and sold them to alleged innocent investors from his magnificently furnished offices in Chicago. After he had taken in $100,000 or so dollars, one of these fussy purchasers that are always making trouble. I've had them actually try gold watches. I've sold them with acid. Took a cheap excursion down to the land where it is always just before supper to look at his lot and see if it didn't need a new paling or two on the fence, and market a few lemons in time for the Christmas present trade. He hires a surveyor to find his lot for him. They run the line out and find the flourishing town of Paradise hollow. So advertise to be about 40 rods and 16 poles S 27 degrees E of the middle of Lake Okeechobee. This man's lot was under 36 feet of water, and besides had been preempted so long by the alligators and gars that his title looked fishy. Alright guys, I just completed the second part, so let's continue with the third one, but tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.